I returned home from work. I parked right next to my apartment unit, and I noticed something odd. Nobody else's cars were parked in a little parking space. Typically, my next door neighbor, I think his name is Ron, is usually home already. I make my way up my stoop, and I could hear my Cocker Spaniel press up against the door from inside as I'm unlocking the door. Don't worry, I'm always home during my lunch break to let him out and feed him. And if that fails, and I have to stay at work, then my girlfriend Ashley is usually there to let him out. And if she doesn't get the chance to let him out, then our good neighbor, who is this sweet 67-year-old woman, loves taking care of my Cocker Spaniel, and she'll let him out and give him enough attention. I open the door and I'm greeted by Columbo. I call him that because when I got him, he was just a little puppy that had an eye injury. He's perfectly fine now. He can see out of both eyes. I pour some more food in Columbo's bowl and I refill his water. I wash my hands and I get to cooking. I preheat the oven to 475 for some crispy eggplant slices, and I chop up a couple natural-sized carrots that will be added later with some wilted spinach and complemented with some homemade Szechuan sauce. Should I finish up the last of the pickles that Rick nearly ate when he came over for tequila and pickles? Perhaps the kitchen is where the hardest decisions of the day come from. I hold off on throwing the flour-covered chicken in the other skillet. Don't want to be waiting around for another 20 minutes with everything cooked and complete, except for the eggplant slices. I decided to get a little bit of fresh air with Columbo. We both go outside, and I noticed a couple more cars in the little parking lot right next to my stoop. I sit down on my stoop, and I see Columbo. He goes over to the closest tree to sniff with his giant nose. About 5 minutes pass, and I see my next-door neighbor Ron arrive. Now, just to keep you in the loop, I don't particularly care for Ron, nor do I know all that much about him. He is always yelling about something next door. You can't really hear him unless it's late and everything is quiet at night and you're in the living room. Good thing I can't hear him when I'm trying to sleep in my room. But when I want to watch a movie, I'll just turn on the AC that just happens to tune him out. He's one of those guys. Anyways, I see Ron get out of his truck. I nod the respectful way with my head and I say, "Hello there." He looks at me and says, "Hey," as if he is in a rush and he is trying to catch his breath. Meanwhile, Columbo wags his tail as Ron is about to pass him by, and Columbo is probably anticipating the possibility of a quick little pet from Ron. But instead, Ron looks at Columbo and then looks over to me and says, "I hope this damn dog doesn't piss near my door." I replied, assuming that this had actually happened before. "Oh, shoot. Did Columbo pee next to your door?" "Oh, I'm sorry, Ron. I'm usually good about keeping my eyes on him. I'll make sure he doesn't go over to your door, though. He is a great dog. He just doesn't know that other places are off limits." He replies, "My name is Ronnie, not Ron." "Oh, okay," I say back with a bit of a smirk. He obviously doesn't have good communication skills. Now, I do believe he has gotten a look at Ashley, and he probably thinks to himself that there's no way I could pull somebody that looks that good. I think Ronnie might be a bit jealous. Ashley even said to me a little over a month ago that my next door neighbor is kind of weird. I didn't ask why, but rather sort of just agreed with her. It's not that he's intimidating or anything, but he does have a bit of weight to him. I'm talking about that big boy country weight, that dough ball look that some people have. Not someone with endurance, but not really somebody you would really want to pick on either. I just shake my head at his attitude. Some people just feel as though that they need to prove themselves in any situation. Whatever. I make my way back inside real quick to check on the eggplant slices. Still have a little bit of time left. I put some more salt and pepper on the dressed chicken breasts, then make my way back outside to see if Columbo is done sniffing around. I look around for Columbo. Then I see Columbo just laying down in the grass next to a tree that's about maybe 35 yards away from me. I call out Columbo's name and tell him to come here, but he doesn't respond. I call out some more, but he's still laying down. Oh, great. He probably found something and is gnawing on it. I walk over to him to bring him back in, but once I get within 10 yards of him, something just doesn't seem right. I call his name in an assertive tone. There's no way he can't hear me. I approach him within a couple feet, He is completely still. I bend down and I pet him. Columbo. What? I slowly pick him up, as if to stand him on his hind legs. That's when his head falls back towards me, and a bloody wound is exposed. A thick line of blood collapses his little hairs as it travels down towards his back. The wound was right in between Columbo's eyes. I was trying to figure out what affected him, or what this came from, but the blood was spewing out so quickly I wasn't able to get all the hairs spread away from the wound itself. My mind was racing with thoughts of what this could have been and what Columbo might have done. Did he run into something? This is no bite mark. And that's when I thought about Ronnie. I know that Ronnie hunts, and I also see him with some high-powered BB guns because he does take care of some vermin around the area, and I also see him going out to the woods to shoot at cans and, well, now, God knows what. My mind starts giving Ronnie the benefit of the doubt. No, I know he's a jerk, but there's no way he would do this. I look over to Ronnie's window, and I see him quickly move out from the blinds. No, this couldn't have been him. But then my mind was telling me it definitely was. I looked down at my deceased Columbo. I could call 911 and get the police out here and eventually prove that it was Ronnie that shot Columbo. But hatred is coursing through my veins. No, this justice system will not give Ronnie what he deserves. I'm gonna have to kill this son of a bitch, and I will ensure there is no police involvement. I remain calm, and my body, almost like a robot, walks back into my apartment complex. I walk into the kitchen, turn off the oven that's cooking the eggplant slices, and grab the largest knife I have. Even though Ronnie lives right next to me, I thought about how I can really get away with murder. I've seen Dateline episodes where the murderers get caught just off of a tiny hair fiber. So I thought about wearing a hat, but what good is a hat going to do if I get in a fight with Ronnie and he knocks it off? Then all my hair fibers are on the ground. Evidence. I thought about maybe stretching a condom over my head to trap in all the hairs. But then again, how stupid would I look if I'm trying to get into Ronnie's apartment with a condom stretched across my head? I look pretty damn dumb. Screw it, I'm gonna have to just run in there. He's not gonna answer the door to me. He knows what he did wrong. I dig out my black balaclava and I put it on. I had this weird sensation of just being in the zone, not thinking twice, no emotion at all. It was as if my body had this violent tendency all along, and when the time came, it knew what to do. I must admit, I love this feeling. I make my way outside and I see that Columbo's body is still there in the grass next to the tree. Nobody has come to take a look at him yet, which means that nobody's in the area right now. Right now is the perfect time to bust into Ronnie's apartment. I run up to Ronnie's stoop. I check Ronnie's door and it's locked. I kick it in the perfect location because it bursts wide open and it hits the wall on the other side. I run in to find Ronnie in his room. No time for words, just stabbing. I aim for Ronnie's chest and I hit the perfect location because I have just imagined where I stabbed him, punctured his heart immediately. I saw his eyes light up as I ran into the room, so I know that the last thing he felt was fear. And maybe just for 1 millisecond, he felt the cold steel of my knife enter his warm, bloodied body. I kept stabbing Ronnie, and at this point, I don't know, it could have been a dozen, or it could have been 50, or maybe even 100 stabs into his body. I stand back up, looking over his bloodied body. The pool of blood starts spreading throughout the floor. I can see part of the plasma separate from the rest of the blood. It looks different. Hard to really explain, though. I made sure not to touch anything else in Ronnie's apartment, and I knew I had to make it out of there rather quickly. I made sure I didn't step on the blood so it wouldn't leave any shoe prints behind. I took a cloth from Ronnie's kitchen and wiped down maybe perhaps any kind of shoe indentation on the door that I kicked in. Using the cloth, I pulled the doorknob of Ronnie's apartment and I shut his door, walked back outside, picked up Columbo's body, made my way back to my apartment. My girlfriend Ashley came over and she asked me where Columbo was. I told her that I gave Columbo to my parents this weekend. They only live 30 minutes away, so it was believable. More believable than what actually happened today. 2 hours before Ashley came by, I buried Columbo's body in the woods. I remained calm and cheerful in front of her, so she had no idea what was up. We ended up watching a movie and ordering pizza. I had to throw out all the food I was going to make earlier. It just wasn't appealing to me. It was weird just being calm on the couch watching a movie with Ashley when I knew that there was a dead body next door, and I had something to do with it. I had everything to do with it. Ashley leaves my apartment late, around 1 o'clock in the morning. I go down to the store nearby real quick just to pick up some NyQuil because I have this feeling that I won't be able to sleep tonight. I make my way back home, and then I notice something ominous. Ronnie's light right next to his front door is flickering on and off. I've never noticed this before. It's odd seeing all these bright, solid lights all lit up in the apartment complex, but Ronnie's home being the only one with a flickering light in the doorway. I've seen paranormal shows where they talk about how souls can affect lights. That's good. I guess it's my way of confirming I've killed him. I consume some of the NyQuil and I head to bed. I look out the window and I see that the clouds are bathed in moonlight. The moon is peering into my room as if to say, I've got you, and I know what you're guilty of. I go to the YouTube app on my phone and I look at some white noise videos so I can just listen to something that will coax me to sleep. I've always been able to sleep during a rainstorm, so I select a video with hard rain falling down. As I was listening to the rain fall, I hear something else come over my headphones.
Good evening.
What? Is this an ad?
Turn the YouTube video off right now. Come on, don't you have anything else to do with your time? Columbo.
What the hell? I look down at my phone to see what type of video it's on. But I see a severed dog's head.
Tell me what happened to your neighbor.
I quickly pick up my phone and I throw it towards the wall. I jump out of bed and I turn on the light, trying to figure out what was going on, if there was somebody inside my room. And that's when the sound from the YouTube video started coming out of the actual speakers from the phone, even though my headphones were already plugged into the phone itself.
Where's Columbo, Kevin? Don't you feel those spiders crawling all over your skin? You are the failure everybody talks about and laughs at. You will not hide. You cannot run from what you've done.
I feel as if there's a bunch of burning acid in my chest and it's slowly rising up towards my throat, wanting to escape my body. I try to run towards the door, but for some reason I can just run in slow motion as if I was in a dream. But I know I'm not. I open the door. What? My outside light is flickering on and off. Is this signifying my death? Am I going to die? I try calling out, but I can't call out to anybody. It feels as if my lips have been sealed shut. Oh God, what is that thing? I look over in the corner of my kitchen and I see this beastly dark figure emerging from the shadows. I can't really describe what it is, but I think I hear blood dripping down from it onto my hardwood floor. It approaches me, but I can't move anywhere. I can't get away. I'm just so intimidated by whatever this is in front of me. I hear it growling, and I see its eyes, its red eyes, and its white canine teeth. I'm not one to believe in the devil or demons or anything like that, but I believe I'm seeing hell right in front of me.
Rest in hell.
744 Rosala Boulevard. Explosion. Box 6339. Engine 53. Engine 54. Engine 53. Engine 52. Ladder 53. Ladder 54. Battalion 6. Safety 6. Assigned to FD Op 1. 7744 Rosala Boulevard. Explosion.
Darkness falls across the land. The demons squeal in sheer delight. It's you they spy, so plump, so right. For though the groove is hard to beat, yet still you stand with frozen feet. You try to run, you try to scream, but no more sun you'll ever see. For evil reaches from the crypt to crush you in its icy grip.